And I'm gonna give you the host.
Okay.
I'm bad. I ain't gonna do it.
Dana, see if you can do the Facebook.
Okay. Oh, but I should have hit, hold on, let me go back to Zoom and hit, there's no broadcasting up there, right?
No, I did it already.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. It said I don't have permission. You do not have permission to live stream.
I don't understand. All right.
Okay, somebody's in the room. Who's number 4? I see somebody. Oh,
That was the attendee. That was Savannah. Okay. She went out.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna try. Here we go. Are you guys on Facebook right now? Any one of you? Okay.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I am, but I'm seeing nothing coming through or nothing.
Yeah, nothing happened right now. I have a blank page for Facebook. It's slowly coming in. And I think my internet is jacked out as usual.
Hey, can you make sure he's drinking this water? Thank you. I'll send. I can send them a chat. I'll just send. I'm gonna send Savannah.
All right, I just got a notification. Do you guys see it?
Oh, let me look.
No. Yeah, Facebook? Now I do. Yeah. Well, it just went away.
Okay. It did?
Yeah, I had the notification and it went away. Oh, there it is.
I see it.
Okay. All right. So since we're on early, you guys, go ahead and share and like and make sure you invite friends to What We Know Now Wednesdays. Okay. All right, Dr. Scott is coming in.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, welcome back. It's exciting to see you again.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we have been missing in action.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We are back from our 4-week break. We're happy to be back.
Yes, this 4 weeks seems like an infinity.
It does. It really does.
Like a long time. We're on a little early, folks, so
Yeah, we got to get all queued up again.
That's right. Get all our technical glitches out the way so that everybody can view and be a part of the show. And since we're on early, if you want to get on the Zoom, now is a good time to go ahead and get on. So the meeting ID number is 815-447-1057. Again, that number is 815-447-1057. The passcode is 903536. Again, 903536. Tonight's topic is cold caps. So you're going to want to get on the Zoom so you can ask your questions in real time. So the meeting ID again is 815-447-1057. Passcode is 903536.
There's 2 1s in there.
In the meeting ID, say that again. Yes, the meeting ID is 815-4471-1057. 815-4471-1057. Passcode 903536. 903536.
So come on into the Zoom room.
That's right. Join us live in the Zoom room.
Seems like forever.
I know.
Hello, everybody. Hi, Deborah. Hi, Joanna. Deborah, I'm sorry. If you didn't hear us, the show tonight is about cold cap therapies, and that's for people that's undergoing chemo and want to try and save their hair. So if you know anybody that's getting ready to start, and that's one of their concerns, you might want to share this episode with them because it's going to be really good information.
Okay, Deborah.
What did she say? What did she say?
She said Deborah or Deborah, whichever one, as long as you call me.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
That's right.
I know that's
Deborah,
right.
jump onto the Zoom. Get in the Zoom room.
Get in the Zoom room, Deborah, so as you know you're going to ask some questions. Keep this conversation. We need conversation starters.
Yes.
Our guests like to answer questions. So don't be shy.
No need to be. We all family now. We've done what? This is our 15th show, right? 15th show?
Is it? Oh Lord, I don't even know.
I think so.
Is it 15?
Come, we all we family. Get on the Zoom.
We were family before this.
I'm about to
anyway,
say, yeah,
so.
we were NTTI. We were an NTTI family too.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna give out that meeting ID number and password again because we're gonna get ready to start the show in 2 minutes. So meeting ID, go ahead and get into Zoom. The meeting ID is 815-4471-1057. Again, that meeting ID is 815-4471-1057. And the passcode is 903536. 903536. See you there.
We are going live now.
Welcome to What We Know Now Wednesdays, myths, truths, and solutions about hair loss with Dana Wilson, Lori Huckabee, and Tamima Ali, the hair advocates.
Hello, hello,
Hello,
hello.
hello. It seems like I haven't heard that in a long time.
It has been a while.
It's been a while, you guys. We're so happy to be back. We just had to take 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes to regroup and get some good shows all lined up for you guys. And today is going to be a great one as well. I am Dana Wilson. I am of Hair Cares Inc. I'm located in Chester, Virginia. I am your Sister Lock Master Trainer and a certified trichologist. My personal mission with doing this show is to encourage anyone who is experiencing hair loss or some sort of scalp disorders. I just want you to know that there is solutions for you. You don't have to suffer in silence. Please, please, please start a watch party because today is going to be great. So welcome again.
Hey everybody, I am Tamima Ali. I'm a certified trichologist and I'm located in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm with Advanced Hair Growth Clinic. I get to the root of your hair loss or scalp disorder. My goal is to help as many people as possible to look and feel beautiful. Let me help you be your most healthy self. Go ahead and share and start a watch party.
Yes.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. My name is Lori Huckabee. I'm located in the Hampton Roads area of Virginia, and I'm also with Advanced Hair Growth Clinic. I'm in VA. I'm a certified trichologist, licensed cosmetologist, and cosmetology instructor. I'm a hair coach, certified sister law consultant, and a biomedical research assistant, which all of us are. And I am passionate about what I do, which is I help people revive and renew their scalp health and restore and regrow their hair. So welcome to the Hair Advocates.
All of us together make up the Hair Advocate. And obviously our show is What We Know Now. And What We Know Now was developed obviously from our passion about helping people grow their hair, restore, maintain their hair. Our objectives, though, are to bring awareness to trichology. That would be one. Two, to discuss, dispel, and distinguish myths and truths around hair loss. And then, of course, what you really want to know is about the treatment, the treatments or solutions around helping you with whatever issue that you may have. So all of those issues we discuss on What We Know Now. And today's episode is about cold caps. And I'm sure a lot of you guys don't know what that is, but we're about to find out about it here shortly. We have our guests. Our first guest. Oh, wait, before we go on, let's say hi to Dr. Scott because let's welcome her back real quick. Dr. Scott is our resident nutritionist. We are happy to see you. Hey, Dr. Scott, we haven't seen you in a little bit.
Yes. Miss you.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
She always shares with us a tip or something. She adds to our pantry every week. I know, at least for mine, my stuff is full of all the ingredients and things that she mentioned to us. So, of course, today she's going to do that as well. So today is about cold caps. Our first guest is Miss Geralyn, and I hope to pronounce this correctly. Don't please correct me when she get on here. Pewarchie. She is of the Penguin Cold Caps company, and she represents them in regards to being their rep to share more about cold caps and what they do. Obviously, she is passionate about this. Geralyn experienced having cancer on a couple of occasions here. And one of the things that she was worried about is her hair. And so she found out about Penguin cold caps. And then when she did, I guess it sounds like she was on fire about it and excited about it, contacted the owner and founder of the company. Now she represents the company with sharing that with others. And by doing that, she has saved so many people, thousands of people she's helped save their hair during chemo, fighting cancer. So thank you so much for being here. And Geralyn, please pronounce your last name for us, please.
Pewarchie.
Pewarchie. Okay.
Yes.
I'm so sorry for killing that.
Oh, no, it was good.
But listen, thank you so much for being here. I called Geralyn on the phone just to learn more about cold caps, because I heard it from a friend of mine who was going through chemo, and she said, you got to know about this. And so with talking to Geralyn, I'm so glad that you took my invitation to be here.
Oh, I'm happy to be here. I'm like you, want to spread awareness to people across America, because when I used the caps in 2009, I only found 2 people using cold caps. And, there were probably more in America, but they were hard to find. And I felt like, is this a secret society? You could save your hair and no one knows this?
Right.
That put me on a mission. So,
Well, I must say that your hair looks awesome. So
yes, it does. Yes,
if that's any indication of what people can possibly have after going through chemo, then this, like, everybody needs to be tuned in so they can hear this. Like you said, it's really not it's a secret, but it's not a secret.
right.
It's just we have to get the word out there. So thank you for being with us today to help do that.
And I did have chemo a while back, so it's not like I just had chemo and came out like this.
Right.
In fact, when I had my treatments, I didn't even tell my family I was having chemo, like my brothers, or I just did the treatments. No one even knew I was going through chemo until. And then I started getting excited about the cold caps. And then they're like, what do you mean you had chemo? Are you okay? Then I had to go through all that with them. But it worked.
But didn't lose your hair though. So they had no clue.
No clue.
But Geralyn, if you can please, I know I didn't do justice to your bio. Please share a little bit more about yourself. That would be great for our audience.
Okay. Well, where do you want me to start? Like about my bio, basically. We got married, and we had a daughter, a 3-month premature baby, and she was in the NICU and 2 months, and we brought her home, and I was so excited. And then I got breast cancer for the first time, and I thought, this doesn't seem right. So of course I prayed about it. I didn't need chemo that first time, which I was lucky. And 14 years went by, just keeping an eye on everything. And then when it came back, I did need chemo and a mastectomy and went through everything. So, and I saved my hair. And I got a really good job out of the hotels. Worked out great. So ever since then, I've been just sharing the word with people. And I'm still a representative. I'm a manager of the depot. We ship the caps out to people across the United States. They send them back when they're done because they're on a rental. And when you want me to get into the cold caps, I can.
If you could please share what cold caps. Yeah, let's go right into what are cold caps, because we don't know.
Okay. The founder of the Penguin Cold Cap is Frank Fronda. The Penguin Cold Cap is the pioneers of cold cap therapy. When I used the cold caps, there were no other cold caps on the market. Like my biographer said, a lady from Switzerland said, oh yeah, they work and they're widely used in the UK. So, Frank Fronda called me and, you know, he sent me some caps and I used them. I saved my hair. And what they are, it's a cap and it's filled with the gel. The gel is what gets cold. The gel in our caps, it's a special Krylon gel. So it retains the cold longer and it gets colder than some of the other gels. So it has to get to, you know, a temperature to like minus 28 degrees Celsius to minus 33, depending on the thickness of the hair. And you have to wear them during your treatments, each one, because one treatment, you could lose all your hair. So if you miss the first treatment, depending on the chemo regimen, most people lose all their hair within a few weeks after, between 14 and 21 days. There's some chemos where you might just do thinning, so people that use them still use them and say what hair's left. And I've had people who've lost their hair and used them to promote their hair to grow back, because what they do is minimize the damage to the hair follicles. So it saves most of the hair, not all of it. Some of the older hairs that can't withstand chemo, it gets pushed out. So people's hair, their hair does thin and it does shed. And everybody's different. So you could have two people on the same regimen and one does great and maybe another one sheds more than the other. But you wear the caps during your treatments, they get cold. And there's two ways to get them cold enough for use. And that's, some facilities have a biomedical freezer at the facility where they're having their treatment. And you put the caps in there and you can use the caps right out of the freezer. The other facilities that don't, you can use them anywhere, and they would use the dry ice method. And that involves having a cooler and putting the caps in a cooler with dry ice, and they'll get cold in the dry ice, and you just take the cooler with you and you use the caps straight out of the cooler. And that's the most preferred way because it's portable, and because you do have to wear them before they actually start the chemotherapy, almost an hour, about 50 minutes. And usually when they're doing, you know, like your vitals and you might get pre-medication and things like that, you start putting the caps on and you wear them throughout the chemo infusion. And then after the chemo, you have to wear them still. It could be 2 to 4 hours depending on what the chemo is, because some drugs are harsher than others. And
do
then,
you have to switch these caps because you're saying with the S? So during the chemo, obviously it's not going to stay cold for so long, right? Are you switching them out?
yes, and I was going to get into that. They do have to be changed every 25 minutes because they get warm on your head, and then you have to put another cold one on. So you should have a helper with you, and we call them cold cap therapists, or people call it a capper, that'll go and change the caps for you during your treatment. With the COVID-19 now, a lot of hospitals aren't letting people bring in the helper, which is pretty sad, but not all. So some people, you know, not everybody, it just depends where they're at. But some people are trying to do it themselves while they're getting the infusion, and then they have a helper waiting for them afterwards. But normal, and when it's normal and we're not all under all these rules, usually you could bring a capper, or a family member or friend can do it. Just practicing at home when you get the caps with a family member or friend, most people can do it on their own, and other people would rather hire a professional capper. And then you just store them in your home freezer in between treatments, and each treatment you have to just do it all over again, and then you send them all back when you're finished, and hopefully with a full head of hair. So
the fact that this having your scalp so cold is, I guess, lessens the impact to the follicle.
Yes, so what it does, kind of puts the hair follicle to sleep, so it doesn't metabolize the chemo. So what Frank explained to me when I first met him, the founder, he's Frank Fronda, he's an engineer and businessman, and he's the inventor of the penguin cold cap. He said it's like having a nightmare, and you're going to tuck your follicles to sleep, let the nightmare go through, and then when it's over, wake them up.
Gotcha.
Okay, so
I like that. Okay.
It's kind of putting them to sleep get the chemo and wake them up. So, and then the other thing, what's the most important is when you first get the chemotherapy, it's the strongest, and that's when it's going after the cancer, but that's also when it's damaging your hair follicles.
Okay.
So by using the cold caps and putting them to sleep, you have to wait for all the chemo to get through your system and have the liver and kidneys clean the blood. And then when that's finished, then the toxicity level of the chemo is reduced and it's not as strong anymore. So that's why you have to wear them after the chemo infusion. And sometimes it might be 2 hours, might be 3, might be 3.5, 4.5. And we send all our clients a personalized schedule, because when they order, they're going to put down, you know, what their chemo regimen is, their age, if they have any liver impairment, if they're older. And we kind of try to figure out the best we can, you know, how long they should keep wearing these caps, and what temperature based on their hair thickness. Someone with real thin hair wouldn't need it as cold as someone with real thick hair.
Okay.
So we do send them a personalized schedule, and then that's, you know, how it works.
Geralyn, why don't more people know about these cold caps?
Probably because they're not FDA approved, and the doctors and nurses don't really know about it.
Okay.
Some of them are just so busy with treatments and everything. It's just, I don't know, it's just sometimes harder to get everybody on board until a patient starts using them. And then if the patient wants to use them, it catches on, and, you know, it's more really word of mouth. And our company really doesn't do too much advertising. It's mostly word of mouth. I found out about them on a thread called breastcancer.org.
Okay.
And women are on there all the time getting information. It's a wonderful website. They have a nice discussion board, and I've learned a lot on that website about surgeries, chemo, everything. And that's how I found out about the cold caps. And now there's a lot of different cold caps on the market.
Okay.
But they're not the penguin cap. And I do believe the penguin's the best there is. We have the best success, and with some of the harshest chemo regimen. And part of it is because of the personalized schedule given.
Okay.
Part of it is the Krylon gel, which does get colder and retains the cold. Some of the other caps might be filled with like a glycerin and doesn't keep as cold. Some of the other caps you might have to wet your hair to try to get it cold enough. And our caps, when you put them on, the gel kind of molds right to your head. So it has very good contact all over.
Okay.
So, I mean, if I ever had to, and I hope I never do, have to use them again, I would use the penguin cold cap, you know, the gel cap.
Now, how do you track the success rate? How do you do that? Are the client taking pictures prior, before, and afters?
Yes, as some of them, not all of them. Yeah, just on patient success, you know. We have a lot more success than there are, you know, failures. But they're not guaranteed, and it, you know, that's why you can't guarantee. Like I said, you could have 2 people on the same regimen, and one does well and one doesn't. Someone might be sicker, or maybe their hair's not in good condition, or maybe they don't follow all the recommendations, or the caps weren't cold enough, or, you know, there's a lot of reasons. It's hard to pick one reason.
So this is a rental. So they contact you. You guys do a consultation with them. Obviously, because you got to, you know, collect all the information to create a schedule. So what intervals are they getting these caps? So they just get one set of caps and they keep them for the duration?
The duration, and then when they're finished with them, they send them back. So someone can go on our website and put in an inquiry. First thing I do is send them some information and give them a phone call. Answer questions, and then if they want to order, they can order right on the website. They can pay online. They can arrange their shipping online. And then I always like to call them before we ship the caps, just to confirm everything. And then we ship them out, and we email them their schedule. I like to tell them to read it over and then call us to go over it, because otherwise they get very confused, because there is a lot of information. But I always, you know, it's after you get through it the first time, you're really nervous and stressed, and, you know, everybody wants to do it right, but it's very repetitious. Once you do it once, you know, I feel it gets a lot easier for most people. But, you know.
Now, obviously we were just talking about it not being out there as much in regards to the cold caps, but does the insurance pay for anything at all?
Yes, they
Okay.
do. They don't pay us directly, but most clients, they when they're finished, they always request a receipt to send into their insurance, and they get reimbursed. And some insurance reimburse them by putting in a claim for cranial prosthesis, which is a wig or a head covering. Some do it for scalp coolings covered now,
Oh,
or
okay.
treatment for alopecia. So different ways.
Okay.
So I don't work directly with the insurance or the billing, but from,
Okay.
that's, how people
Good to know.
are getting it covered. And the Dignitana machine did get FDA approved. So scalp cooling is, on its way to being, once it's FDA approved, then everybody's going to know about it,
Gotcha.
But we are approved for class 1 for like traumas or migraines and things like that. So.
Okay.
So soon, hopefully, we'll be a level 2 approved also.
Okay. Oh, that's perfect. That's great to know. Our audience, I'm sure, is excited to hear about that. The possibility of insurance being able to pay.
And there are foundations that help pay for the caps.
Okay.
If they get approved for a grant, they help pay a portion of some of their rental. So there is some financial help out there.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. So can you tell us about the role of the capper? You mentioned the capper. Who is that, and what do they do?
The capper could be your husband, your sister, your mother, who's ever going to change your cap for you. Most people have a family member or friend. A lot of people don't want to bother a family member or friend, or they work and they can't be there for every treatment. Different reasons. And some people want to hire a capper to come and train a family member and friend, or be there for the first time. And some people want to hire them for every treatment. So Savannah's going to be a guest today.
Yes.
She does a wonderful job. And people, if someone wants a capper, she would call them, go over her prices with them. And she has different services she can offer them. She'll do FaceTime training. She'll do just one-on-one training, where she could come and cap them through their whole treatments. So there's different ways they can assist.
Okay. We're actually going to let Savannah into the room. Geralyn, if you could tell us just a little bit more about Savannah. How long has she been doing this, and how did she get associated with the penguin caps?
She'll know better than me. I think I'm losing my memory how long, but it's been a few years at least that I've known Savannah. She helped her mother through her mother's treatment.
Okay.
So, and her mother has beautiful hair too. And she contacted us and wanted to be a capper. She wanted to do it. She had the desire. And then she got trained and she just started capping. So we've been working together because, she'll travel, she'll, train people, she'll do the FaceTime training and everything. So.
Okay. Perfect.
I have some questions. So before we go to Savannah, hi Savannah. Geralyn, so does it matter what type of cancer a person has as far as who will be able to use the cold cap?
I'm not a doctor, and I tell people that, but as far as I know, the only doctors, we always say make sure your doctor approves. The only time a doctor usually doesn't want a patient to use the caps is if they have a blood cancer. But we have men use the caps, women, younger girls, and different kinds of cancer. It doesn't really matter the cancer. It's because the caps work with the chemotherapy. So the drugs, by the drugs. If there's but men use them too, and all kinds of cancer, lung cancer. It's not just for breast cancer patients.
Right. Only reason I was asking because I know I have, once I found out about the cold caps, which is probably been about 5 years ago now, and as I've people would say they're getting ready to start chemo or something, and that would be the first thing I tell them to ask about. And some of them, like most of them, their doctors was like, no, no, I don't think that's a good idea because yours is in a certain location or something like that. But none of them had a blood cancer, just like a blood type cancer. So I was just wondering about, does it matter where the lump is or where the tumor is or like
Well,
what kind it is?
Another situation is if people are like a stage 4 cancer, doctors might recommend not to use the caps, but then a lot of them use them because they want to have the quality of life, so it's kind of up to the patient. But like I said, the blood cancer is the only one that someone said not to use,
So if their doctor said just because, like, maybe like you said, most time people dismiss things because they don't know about it. So if a lot of doctors are not familiar with it and they say, nah, I don't know anything about it, so I wouldn't recommend that you use it, and the patient still wanted to use that, is that okay? Like, can they do it anyway? Like,
They do. Some people
Okay.
will switch doctors because they get upset.
Mhm.
Some people, the doctor will let them use it anyway. So usually if the patient wants to use it, the doctor usually goes along unless there's a medical reason,
Because
But
they don't have to do anything. Like the doctors don't have to do anything
no,
to like
and the
make this
nurses
happen.
don't either because the
Right.
nurses don't touch the caps because they're not FDA approved. So it's all on the patient to do it themselves and bring in their own helper or bring in their own cold cap therapist, professional capper, and then when they do it themselves. But most doctors allow it. All these years, only occasionally a doctor won't let them use it. Like when the caps first were new, there were a few hospitals, I won't say who, would not allow anybody to use cold caps. But they do now because it's caught on more. It's just because it's not as well known, and the more they're learning about it and more people are using them, doctors are, most doctors are learning more about it.
Right. Okay.
But when they're about to go through the treatment, is there some kind of briefing that is given to them about cold caps? Like
I wish there was. I do. We send our flyers and, we try to, get them on board to promote it,
Okay,
But I think, like I said, once it gets FDA approved, it'll be a lot better.
gotcha. I see. Okay, great. Hi, Savannah. Can you hear
Hi,
us?
Savannah. Welcome to the
I was
show.
having some technical difficulties as I was coming on. I was like, okay, great. Of course, my Wi-Fi is going to go out right as they put me on.
Of course.
Yeah. How are you guys doing today?
Great.
Hear you.
Great.
Good.
We can hear you.
Yeah. Well,
Good,
thank you
good.
for having me
Thank
on.
you for being here.
Yeah.
So you're a capper. Please tell us about it.
Yeah. So to kind of give you a background, my mom went through chemo about 3 years ago, and we had heard from a friend of a friend that there were these cold caps that save your hair from falling out or help prevent, some of the shedding. So, me and my dad at the time, we did a ton of research. We looked at all the cold caps that were out there, and I had never even heard of them. Chemo in general was extremely new to my family. So in the beginning, I was like, I thought radiation and chemo were hand in hand. They're two complete, like I had no idea about anything going into it. So I did a ton of research. I found Penguin cold caps. My dad and I got in contact with Geralyn, and just through all of the research that I went through, I saw that Penguin had the best success rate with that, just from blogs and looking online, especially with some of the harsher treatments, and also looking at the cold cap shape itself, which I have one here that I'll show you guys in a second.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Yeah. And so they came in the mail. They look like this. And my mom looked at me and she said, "You are not touching me with those things until we find someone that knows how to do this."
Okay.
And she was like, "That's a lot of pressure to put on myself and my dad." She was like, "What if something happened to my hair? I didn't want you to feel blamed." So we found someone who was in New York that had been doing it for a really long time. And luckily we were able to bring him to us. I live in North Carolina. And so for all of my mom's treatments, he trained me and kind of showed me the route on how to, properly do it, how to work with the dry ice, how to pack the cooler. Penguin does a great job, but it's a lot of information at one time, and a lot of the times it's easier with hands-on learning, or someone videoing with you to show you exactly how to do it. So my mom was able to save about 90% of her hair, which was amazing. And a lot of my patients are able to save over around that area, which is, I've seen such great results. I would not be doing this if I didn't believe in the product. It really does work when done properly. And there's a lot of scary stuff online where I think sometimes it's user error, and they'll say these are a piece of junk, they don't work. And I think truthfully it's because it's just not properly done. And again, it depends on every person's journey and how their body reacts, as Geralyn was saying. So we had brought this guy in, and I was like, this needs to be a lot more, assistance needs to be more accessible for people in my area. But unfortunately, there's not a lot of people out there that do this. So I've traveled quite a bit to help assist in the process. And this year I'm trying to expand it to where there are more people in different areas so that people aren't having to pay for travel costs, and, to kind of minimize that. And so that it is a little bit more accessible. With COVID, I've been doing a lot of video conferences with people to kind of just show them the ropes on how to do it, because it is a lot of information. And when you look at this, at the point where when you're getting chemo, a lot of things go in one ear and go out the other ear. So I think, to have assistance and to have kind of a calm sense that can tell you, this is how you're going to do it. You're going to get through this. You're going to be okay. Your husband can do it. Your friend can do it. We can make this work. It's a little bit reassuring when someone's there talking you through it. And Geralyn does a great job talking with patients as well. But just on the actual, cold capping itself, it can be helpful.
Now, Savannah, is the cap weighted? Because
yeah,
I know you
so
pulled it up. It seems like it's weighted.
Yep. So I would say, Geralyn, would you say it's about?
It's like 3 or 4 pounds.
I'd say 3 or 4 pounds. That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
About 3 and a half.
When it's frozen too, it can be quite heavy on your. Say that again.
Yeah, she said maybe about 3.5.
Around 3 and a half,
Yeah.
most.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so when it's frozen too, it can be quite heavy on the head. A lot of people are like, that's what surprises them, not the cold, but how heavy it is. So a lot of people will bring neck pillows to help, the weight of it on their neck.
Okay.
But I can show you how it works, and I can put it on I have my little sister right here.
Please. Yeah.
We're
She's
ready.
been helping me with all of the technology stuff. She's like, oh, we'll put this light here, and
Good
this will make you
stuff.
glow up better.
Perfect.
Awesome. You said that's your sister?
Yes, this is my sister. This is Lily.
Hey,
Hi.
Lily, how are you? Thank you so much for doing this for us.
Yeah, thanks for helping.
Yeah. And one thing too, when my mom was going through this, she wanted a sense of privacy. Not only, a lot of people are, think one woman came up to my mom, which everyone has their own journey, but, they were like, you're not getting the full chemo experience. And my mom was like, if there is one thing that I can control in this uncontrollable time, I'm going to do my best to at least be able to try to control something.
Do you really need to have the full chemo experience? Like, that doesn't even make sense, but okay.
Right.
Sorry.
You didn't ask for it in the first place. Yeah. And also just my mom was like, for my kids too. And my mom would always say, you guys would be so much nicer to me if I didn't have my hair right now, because she looked normal. She was able to look at herself in the mirror and see herself as life was going on the way that it should have.
Okay.
So yeah, okay. I will show you how to put this on.
Okay, perfect.
I'm going to switch with my sister.
All right.
Okay.
These chairs are super loud. Okay.
And don't worry,
So
everybody. Like, you can just real quick. So if you're just popping in and you're seeing the demonstration, don't worry. You can go back and replay this episode and watch the full thing. So you didn't miss anything. You just might have to go back a little bit. So
Right.
there you go. Go ahead.
No, that's great. Okay, so, you know, so pale. No, you're fine. Okay, so with this, you can see here, this is the gel formula right here. So
Okay.
these areas is where it's going to be, you know, on that cold temperature. And this cap, it's pretty flimsy right now, but it's not as flimsy when you're using it. So it's a little bit easier to mold as you're putting it on.
When the cap gets cold, the gel starts to get firm. So
Okay.
it can get too cold where it's hard as a rock. Like taking a steak out of the freezer, it will
Okay.
get cold. That's why you have to follow the instructions and only have them in the dry ice a short time before your treatment. 'Cause they get-
Okay.
So this would be similar to something like you know how you got gel mask that you can put in, like you can freeze or whatever. So they get cold, but they're still moldable,
Right.
even though they're cold. Like I have an eye mask that I can put in a freezer
Yes.
and use like that. Okay, same
But
concept.
those will get colder though. Than
Yes.
the-
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Okay, so what I like to do is I hold it, the cold cap, underneath. I kind of place my hand here, and then I'll put one hand on top of here as I apply it on top. So real quick before we get into this, the cold cap is pretty cold. So what we do is we put multi-purpose. We have panty liners right here. And so we put panty liners or moleskin on top of the skin right here to protect that area, so you don't get any burns, or you know, it's not too cold on the actual skin. So what I'll do is I'll take the cold cap, I'll lift it up, and I'll bring it down right here. I'll unstrap this and put one hand on top. So then I'll strap the bottom here. I'll fix the forehead part right here. Back a little bit. Okay, gonna hold right here. So as she's holding right here, I'm fixing the back because the cap will tend to slide back as you're fixing the back. So I'll have her hold right here just for a minute as I'm doing this.
And it doesn't matter how thick the hair is, right?
Say that again?
It doesn't matter how thick the person's hair is, like before they start?
Right. This is a pretty moldable cap. So, you know, depending on the thickness of your hair, it's able to kind of expand and shrink as, you know, even because some people have bigger heads and some people have smaller heads.
Yeah.
So what I do is I tuck this in the back right here. I strap it. So you see it's full coverage all the way around the cap there. So what I'll do is I'll take a strap. It looks like this, a Velcro strap. I'll put one on the back. And then if you turn to this side, this part right here, I'll kind of slide it around so that it is steady.
Okay.
So that it's kind of tapering on the nape of the neck. And then what I'll do with there's another strap here, I'll kind of mirror that as well.
Okay.
And that's to make sure it's on securely, like that is really, okay.
Yep. So that it's not going anywhere. And then lastly, there's a blue strap that's right here. And this also goes around. This kind of helps fasten the cold cap itself. So it'll go around right there. And just like that.
Wow.
Does that look about right, Geralyn?
Yes. The black straps, I want to say, the purpose is to pull the back of the cap against the head because there's a gap in the back.
Okay.
So you put the black strap there and pull it up the sides. And you want it tight, but not too tight.
Right.
Nice and snug.
Yep. And so at that point, once I put the first cold cap on, I'll set a timer, and then I'll prep the next cold cap. So
how long does it usually, I mean, I know you're saying different, everyone is different, right? As far as the, you know, what they need, how cold it needs to be and all of that. Like, but give me a estimated time of how long each cap would last before you need to put another one on.
You're going to change them every 25 minutes.
Oh, 25 minutes. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And so I set a timer for 23 minutes. So it gives me that a 2-minute period to kind of get ready, get the next cold cap done, and put the next one on. So I like to have the cold cap on at 25 minutes.
Right.
So that it's a fresh new cap.
Okay. Wow.
And so it basically takes that amount of time for the one that you took off to get to the right temperature that it needs to be.
Right. So and I will check on the cold caps kind of in between those times to make sure that the whole cap is in a even temperature. You know, it's the certain areas will get colder than others, so you'll have.
Okay.
What happened?
Oh, she got frozen.
It's frozen. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She'll be back in a second.
That is
Okay.
so cool. That thing is so cool.
Well, the way
It
the
is.
cooler, while she's frozen, when you pack the cooler, there's 4 caps.
Okay.
Okay.
The gel site's always on the dry ice. When you take a cap out of the cooler, you're always going to take the bottom cap out to put on the
First.
head. So you're always taking out from the bottom. And when you take one off, you want to get one ready to put on before you take the one off, because you don't want her sitting there without a cap on her head.
Right.
Gotcha.
So then when you take one off, you put the next one on. And then when you put the one you took off back into the cooler, you're going to put it in the top position. So they're in the same order and they're moving down. So they're all in there the same amount of time.
Right. Okay. So you're always taking off from the bottom.
Yep. And you're
And
always
it's
putting
like
back
that.
on the top.
On
That's
the
how I
top.
tell
Okay.
people, so
Yeah.
it's easy to,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're all in the dry
Is
ice
there-
the same amount of time. So you don't have some getting too cold and some aren't cold enough. This way that, you know, it works out really nice.
Right. Right.
You said that the cap should be at a certain temperature. Do you guys like check it with a thermometer or anything? Is there any way to actually check the temperature to make sure it's cold enough?
Yes, we send a thermometer. We used to use an infrared thermometer, which you might see videos online of them pointing the infrared at the cap. We used that for many, many, many years. When you point an infrared, depending on the thickness, you know, it can register all these different temperatures. And it would get clients really frustrated because they couldn't get the same temperature everywhere. And because some places on the cap, the gel might be a little thicker than others. So we switched to the probe thermometer because you're going to get a more accurate reading of the internal temperature of the whole cap. So it's a probe thermometer. After you open the cap and you want to knead it when you take it out of the cooler, just to make it pliable and make sure the gel's evenly distributed throughout the cap, you just put the probe thermometer on the cap, the center of it, and you fold the cap over and let it take the temperature. And then we, on the personal schedule, say, you know, to aim for minus 28 degrees Celsius or minus 30 to 32 degrees Celsius.
Okay.
So then you know what to aim for. So if a cap's too cold, what happens is you have to just let it sit out at room temperature, and as soon as you take it off the dry ice, they're starting to warm up. So it might have to sit out, say, 5 more minutes to, you know, 'cause it's too cold. And that's all you do. If it's, you know, too cold, you let it sit out a little bit longer. If it's not cold enough, put it back on the ice. That's the only way to adjust the temperature of the cap. But when you know, do it with our system, usually, you know, it's within a few degrees, because you're not going to start putting the caps in the dry ice for about 50 minutes before your appointment. So you want them cold when you get there. So usually, you know, and you're going to keep rotating them so they're not getting too cold.
I see.
So.
So even if they're too
Savannah's
cold,
back.
they're not as effective, even at the too
Well,
cold.
you don't want to get frostbite or anything. So you don't want them to, if someone has thin hair, you don't want to put a cap on that's way too cold.
Gotcha.
So you just let it thin out. And what I tell people too, say it took, Savannah said like 2 minutes, but say the cap's really cold and it's got to sit out for 5 minutes or 10 minutes to get it warm it up. Well, take the next cap out 10 minutes before, to allow that one time to warm up. But
Right.
usually it's within, like she said, a few minutes. It's usually pretty close to the temperature you need. If,
Mhm.
you start packing the cooler at the right time.
Mhm.
I can definitely see the benefit of having a capper there, because all that everything
Yeah.
seems very temperamental, and so you really need somebody that's paying attention to the temperature of the cap and all that, and being pretty quick. So I definitely can see the benefit of the capper.
Yeah, and I was going to say the same thing because, like Savannah said, I've seen um, reviews where the people was like, no, this is no good because it's too cold for your head, or your head is going to get frostbitten or something like that. But those people are probably, like she said, it's
Put
probably
them on too cold.
user error, and they
Mhm.
may be doing them themselves, so they don't really have anybody to monitor the temperature for them, and
Mhm.
that time space of putting it on and taking it off and all those kind of things. So that does matter and plays a huge part, it seems like.
What I tell everybody, when you put the cap on, because they're like, is it really cold? Is it painful? It shouldn't be painful.
Right.
The first cap's the coldest, first and second cap, because your head's warm.
Right.
Put the
Right.
cap on, and it's like well, the first time I did it, but I had mine way too cold. Trust me, I didn't know what I was doing. I'm surprised I had to get frostbite, but anyways, I had it really cold, and it was like almost like I can't take it. It's so cold. Like I can take a lot, but this is really cold for a couple minutes. If I knew it's only going to last a few minutes, and it goes away, because what happens is your head starts numbing up and you don't feel it anymore. It's like
Right.
putting an ice pack on your arm. You keep taking it off, but after a while you can leave it on there because you don't feel it anymore, because it's sitting
Right.
there all day. And it's the same with your head. So if someone has the caps on and they're saying it's so cold, excruciating cold, it's too cold for them, they can warm the next cap up a few degrees, where it shouldn't be painfully cold. That's what I'm getting at.
Mm-hmm.
They need to warm the cap up, because we try our best to do a schedule, but some of them might say their hair's medium, but it's actually really thin, or they might have real thick hair and it's really not. So you have to be the own judge of your own, how you're feeling. If it's like it feels too cold, and it goes the opposite. Some people's hair is really thick and they'll say it didn't feel cold at all. I'll say, well, get them a little bit colder then, because you do want it to get cold.
Right. That's the whole thing. That's what makes it work, is that it's
Right.
cold.
But
It
you
has to
don't
be
want to, it's too
right.
cold, you don't want them too warm.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Awesome.
Thanks for having you back, Savannah.
Sorry, guys.
No worries.
Okay.
I'm at my parents' house. The internet here is just wild. It's
Mm-hmm.
not working quite well.
That was really cool to see you demonstrating on your sister.
Yeah,
I had a
can bring her
different
back over
vision.
and you can see it again. If you want to see it again.
Sure.
You only got a few seconds before our internet cut out. But you can see here, it's very snug to the head. So
Yes.
The only thing, I would maybe put the black strap a little bit down farther, but you do get the headband there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So you mean putting this back down here?
A little bit farther
Yep.
down.
And so what you can do is just adjust that right there.
Yeah. Well, we send two, so
Okay.
you really can put them where you need them.
Yeah.
Everybody's
And it depends on
head's
your
a
head
different
as
shape.
well.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
so everything is included when a person rents. They get all those straps. There's nothing extra they need to provide in order to use the cap.
We send the black Velcro straps, the gel headbands too. Those, the blue gel headbands she put on, that's filled with the gel, and it gets cold, and that adds added coldness around the hairline, because it's most common to lose hair around the ear,
Right.
and at the back of the neck.
Right.
So that's what we send: the 4 gel caps, the 4 gel headbands,
Okay.
the thermometer, the gloves, a white tooth comb, I forgot, the Savannah, the Velcro straps, extra poly bags and a permanent marker. So most of the things you need, and we can also send the cooler too.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Oh,
Good.
Mhm.
Okay. So Savannah, as the capper, how do you get in contact with, or how does the patient get in contact with you for your service?
Yeah, so kind of two different ways right now. Well, there's a few different kind of avenues. Just because I've been into a few different facilities, sometimes doctors will let them know that I, am available or have services, and sometimes they'll talk to me, and I'll kind of direct them over to Penguin, and I kind of give them the lowdown. Again, I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't believe in the Penguin product. So, I send them over to Geralyn, and then sometimes people contact Geralyn as well, looking for assistance. So she'll send them my way as well. And through my website as well, sometimes it's not quite on the charts yet. When you first, Google search cold capping, some people have found it through Facebook, and I'm kind of working on, I didn't major in business. This is all very new to me.
Right.
So, I'm just trying to find the best ways to kind of get the word out there. So, yeah.
So they go to your site, and then do you do a, obviously they tell you their schedule, their appointment schedule and where. Do you do a consultation with them as well?
Yeah, so we'll have a phone conversation.
Okay.
And kind of I'll figure out, what best suits their needs. Sometimes I do video conferencing if they're super far away. And if, just me traveling might not, it's already, everything's kind of expensive going through chemo and, doing something like this. So, I work with them on what best suits their needs, whether they just want some reassurance through a video conference.
Okay.
If they want me to come and kind of take care of everything for them, they're like, I don't want to see it, I don't want to touch it, I just want you to come do it for me. And then, kind of a hands-free and stress-free process. And then sometimes I'll come to them and just do from start to finish, so they get the feel for it. And then, during those 4 hours, depending on what their chemo regimen is after, a lot of the times you'll be able to pick up all the cold caps and head home, and finish out those last few hours at home. And so what we'll do is we'll sit down, they're able to relax. They'll practice on my head in between the cold capping, so that, the patient's hair is not in jeopardy as I'm training them. So they feel fully confident going into the next treatment. And I also like to be there for them regardless. If they just do the one time as FaceTime, if they want to FaceTime me for the next treatment.
Okay.
Just have a few questions. I'm always available on my phone and my texting. I try to just be as much of a resource as I can.
Okay.
What about people that's doing, you have some people after they went through the main chemo, they're put on like a maintenance chemo. Would you still use the cold cap for maintenance chemo treatments?
It depends what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
It depends what it is. Some of them do not even cause hair loss. Some of them do.
Right.
Some just cause thinning.
Right.
What I tell people, like, there's some drugs that might cause thinning that they have to stay on for a year. If someone never had chemo and they had healthy hair follicles, they probably wouldn't even notice the thinning. But right after chemo, after your follicle's been attacked from chemo and they're trying to recover, it doesn't take much to push them out. So
Right.
I like to tell people, keep using the caps till your hair quits shedding and starts feeling healthy again, maybe for another month or two, and at least give it that chance to recover from the chemo before you stop using the caps. And some people stay on using the caps all year. I mean, there's a lot of people. I had one lady, she was using caps for 7 years. She just
Right.
she had a full head of hair through all of her treatments. She had them for 7 years. So,
Yeah,
and with pricing too, if someone's on long-term chemo, Penguin does reduce the price down to almost nothing after they reach a certain level,
Okay.
Right. And something to know too, I'm not sure if I was out at that time, if you had mentioned it, but The actual cold cap process is almost just as important as the in-between cold capping as well. So in between treatments, you have to take care of your hair so delicately.
Right.
Because your hair follicle is so fragile at this point. So, you know, using hot irons and stuff like that, you know, it's kind of a rule book no.
Right.
Because your hair is so fragile. And some people are like, well, what if I have a bad hair day? And a lot of the times I'll say, well, a bad hair day is better than no bad hair days.
Right.
You know, as you're going through this, it's I mean, an unfortunate situation. But you know, it's just as important, I think, in between treatments to be so careful.
Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense.
The three things, people can do some things with their hair, but the main important thing is no chemicals for 6 months. That's the hard one. And then no pulling, you know, and you don't want your head really hot and sweaty because the heat kind of makes the chemo, I don't know if it makes it strong again, but I know when I went through chemo and I was out in the sun, I like got sick, and it just seems the heat, you just shed more hair. So the heat's not good either. So those are like the three things you want to be careful of. So if you want to hot iron your hair, don't have the heat on your scalp. You want to keep the heat away from the scalp. On a warmer, cooler setting. If you're going to blow dry, don't be pulling it with the blow dryer, you know, just hold it and lightly on a cooler setting, you know. There's ways you learn how to fix your hair within the guidelines, you know. You have to try to look good too, so.
Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense to me.
Great. Do we have anybody in the any of our attendees?
Do you have any questions?
Yeah, they have any questions for our guest tonight? A lot of people online, well, a few of them, like some people, Richard says they do the same thing. So maybe
Is that
somebody
from Hair Society?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
We're looking to see what people are saying on Facebook, you guys. Let's see. Cool. But thank you. Listen, thank you so much for coming. This was very good. This was very good because I know for myself and others, this is a new thing that we hadn't heard of before. So we so appreciate you coming to share this with our audience. I think this information should be everywhere. I mean, because people are worried about their hair, of course, right? And so there is something that can help them or prevent it or minimize the hair loss. This information should be everywhere. So we're hoping that whoever's watching, that you share this with someone that maybe is about to go through chemo or who are already going through chemo. Please share with them so they can minimize. Oh, we do have a question here.
What is the treatment process for the management? What do you mean? What is the treatment process for the management? Are you saying to be able to do it, to be a capper, or what, Deborah? Let Deborah in so she can ask a question.
Oh, when therapy is over.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So the question is, what is the treatment process after you finish the chemo? Is that what she's saying?
She's gonna.
Deborah, I've asked you to unmute. We won't see you, but we'll be able to hear your voice if you want to go ahead and ask your question directly.
Excellent. I'm glad you're not showing me. But what the question is, what was the treatment process? Because she was saying that after the chemo was over, they would still need to wear the cap, the penguin cap. So my question is, how is that? When do you do it? And what's the process?
Oh, I see. That's a good question.
Yeah. Thank you for that question, Deborah.
Geralyn, do you want to take this one or do you want me to?
You can go ahead.
So for cold capping after, if there's maintenance treatments after, like Geralyn was saying, certain, depends on your treatment. But pretty much after the cold capping process, after your last chemo treatment, you won't need to use the Penguin cold caps unless, you want to put it on after you're working out to cool down, something like that. But, the long duration where you're cold capping, from an hour before chemo, during, and hours after, that part's kind of over. You just have to still, be very careful with your hair, and it's baby steps onto getting back to what you typically use, using your products that you typically use. And for that span, I want to say it's about 3 to 4 months after your last treatment is when you can start doing baby steps. Is that correct? Am I saying that correctly?
Well, that's a little different. The condition of your hair is different for everybody. So some people's hair might take longer to recover depending on their chemo, depending on, everybody's different. So everybody hears that. So what I tell people, wait till the shedding stops. And some people it's a month, some people it's a month and a half. When the shedding stops and your hair is on its way to recovery. And then you can because we recommend washing your hair in tepid water, cooler water, not ice cold, but you don't want to wash it in hot water. You could start warming it up more. You can maybe change your shampoos. We recommend a mild shampoo without a lot of harsh detergents in it, no parabens or sulfates. If they want to change their shampoo, those are the baby steps. Get the water a little warmer, change the shampoo, try blow drying it. Your hair's doing fine. Just try, the hot iron and it's fine. Nothing's happening. And you can start using the brush more, maybe pulling on it a little bit more. It's handling everything good. And those are the baby steps. And that can happen anywhere, like she said, up to usually around 2 or 3 months. It's the chemicals, 6 months, you really have to wait because they need time to recover. So chemicals, I think, is the most important thing not to do after the treatment.
And for our hair loss practitioners that are watching and listening, you also have to remember too that most of the chemo drugs are designed
take out your hair.
Are designed to attack rapidly dividing cells. So it really doesn't matter that they're hair follicle cells, because the other place in your body that has rapidly dividing cells is your digestive system. So it would make sense that some people may experiencing shedding longer than others just by what else is going on in their body. So if their immune system was really, really weakened and even more taxed by the chemo, that's going to be a longer recovery time for them. So it would still affect the hair follicles in that way, because it's, the rest of the body has to get healed too. It's not just the hair follicles. You got to consider the rest of the body that has been compromised by these chemo drugs. So just keep that in mind when it's like, we always want to look at it's one thing, but it's not just one thing. It's a whole body. Like the hair follicles aren't separated from the rest of the body.
Where are you?
We gotta
Okay, I thought I turned off the light.
You can mute Deborah back again.
I think Deborah has another question as well.
Okay.
Deborah, did you have another question?
What she was talking
1 second.
to.
Yeah, but she had raised her hand as well.
But just remember, just keep that in mind, that this is, even though this is a good therapy, that is not the only thing you have to consider. You still have to consider the rest of your body and how it was being affected by the chemo drugs.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you so much, Geralyn and Savannah. We always ask our guests. Obviously, our show is what we know now. So our question to you is, what do you know now about hair loss or hair growth from your experience, I guess, with the cold caps? You the one that's fine to start.
You can start.
Okay, so something that I know now, I couldn't tell you the amount of knowledge that I have just about chemotherapy and all of the different types of drugs that there are, all of the different, levels of intensity. I feel like I went to school again over the past 3 years of just learning so much. And, something that I know now is how much our hair, means to us, not only from a vein standpoint, but it gives us, our identity, and it allows you to tell who you want to tell, and allows you to, keep things, being able to look at yourself as if life is normal, and continue. I personally haven't gone through it, but I've seen my mom, and we've had so many talks on how it helped her mental health going through chemo, which is so important.
Yes, that's good stuff. It changed your life, truly.
Yeah, it really has. It's something that it came out of unfortunate circumstances, but I feel very blessed that I was able to learn about this and be able to share this with other people.
Right. Thank you so much.
Geralyn, what do you know now?
What do I know? I've learned a lot through all this, all kinds of things. But I think with cold caps, talking to people that use cold caps and talking to people that don't use cold caps, if you look good, you feel good. And people going through chemo that lose their hair, and there's nothing wrong with it. And some people choose that path, or they don't know about the caps.
Right.
But they seem a lot more depressed. They seem like they're just so much more downer. Like, I talk to women that saving their hair. They call me. We're talking about hair. We're not talking about cancer. We're not talking about chemo or being sick. No one even talks about being sick. We're talking about hair. They'll call me. How can I do it? It just, I think it's a mental that when you get up in the morning and you look in the mirror and you know you got cancer, but you look the same, you just feel good, and I think it helps you get through the chemo and being positive, and that positive attitude helps with the whole thing. And I've talked to people when they lose their hair and they're depressed, it's very sad. And it's only hair, but it's more than hair. It's your identity, like you said, it's your privacy. It's keeping normalcy in your life. Some people don't want their kids to be worried and scared. There's a lot of reasons for it. So,
yeah, because it's one thing for you to cut your own hair off.
Right.
It's another thing to lose it, and you didn't want that.
I'm like, 2 weeks I'm going to be bald? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I asked my doctor, I'm like, I'm going to really lose my hair? Are you kidding? Like, I was just freaking out.
Yeah.
And he says, and then when I was using the caps, it just made me laugh. He comes by and he's pulling on my hair because it's still on my head. And before I used the caps, and he's smiling and laughing. And I go, what are you laughing about? I go, you don't think these are going to work, do you? He goes, I didn't say that. He goes, I just know if they don't work, you're going to be really upset. I was like, determined these are going to work. You'll see.
Yeah.
And they did. So, yeah.
Yeah, and you have plenty of hair to prove that it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Did.
You sure do. I mean, really.
I know, and it's getting thicker and thicker. It must be the vitamins I've been starting to take, all these vitamins all of a sudden. I don't know.
Good.
Thank you.
Glad to hear two really great stories, and hopefully they will help somebody else out there, and people will share this information with others.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yeah, because there is hope out there. Like, you don't have to, just because you're given a diagnosis, don't think of it as a death sentence, because it doesn't have to be. Just reach out to people, and it's okay to ask. Just know that you don't have to go with what you're being told. Just go into a different mindset, open your mind to that there has to be something that you can do, and more than likely it is. So, mhm.
You guys
I
have
think
Savannah and
question.
okay.
How can we as trichologists become cold cappers?
Yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
unmute her.
We're going to ask Savannah and
Are we there?
Geralyn.
Okay.
Yes, you're there.
I apologize, guys.
They want to know how to become a capper.
Oh, well, thank you for asking. Sorry, this internet is going in and out. But how to become a capper? Feel free to give whoever, or whoever's listening to contact me via my website, or, I can give out my information, like my email address as well. I really want to get this going to where there's more cappers out there, and I'd be happy to train them on how to do so. Because, it's a lot to pay for someone to come travel, let alone just, be able to be there for them. So, this is something that I'm hoping to expand very soon. So if you're wanting to be a capper, feel free to reach out.
Tell us your website again, although we're going to list it, but if you could please share your website, that'd be great.
So it's www.cappingpartnersofamerica.com.
Okay, perfect.
And I think there's a contact page, and it just goes
Yes.
straight to my email as well. So
Yeah. Well, we'll list
definitely
it right
see
after the show. Right after the show, we'll actually share all of your contact information.
Great. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Perfect.
And if anybody also has questions and they just want, a resource to like hear about cold capping, or just want to know more information, regardless if they need a capper or not, I just try to be there to give information as well, because I know how stressful it is, and there's a lot of things on the internet that can be pretty scary. So
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Perfect. Cool.
And they can go to penguincoldcaps.com
Yes.
too for information, or to order, or just to inquire, and then we'll call them and talk to them.
Exactly.
But ladies, please feel free to stick around. We're going to have Dr. Scott, our nutritionist, who is going to give us some tips about, I think today is preventing cancer. Is that right, Dr. Scott?
Yes, that is correct. It's
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah. So please feel free to stick around. If not, if you have to go, we understand as well. Thank you so much.
Join us.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Okay. Hey, we've got a few minutes left,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And we're going to talk really, really, really fast.
Okay.
And, we're going to say, I had said we would do 10 things that would prevent cancer, and maybe 2 or 3 different behaviors or things that would cause cancer. And so if you could get your paper and pen out, and let's get busy writing here, people.
Okay.
And if you see anything around that you want to know, have at least 1 or 2 questions about. And this is around the world kind of information, okay? So I'm a nutritionist, so I'm always out there trying to prevent it. And if you have it, I've been hired to help reverse it too. And so this is what you want to do. Okay. A lot of women have breast cancer. And so because of that, we kind of brought that little menu right here. It's called Cruciferous Vegetables. It will totally reverse the breast cancer. I've seen it work in like 3 days. Get the lumps and fibroids in the breast to just dissolve to nothing. And so I brought those foods today. Those are foods you could just put on your menu weekly, okay? Cruciferous vegetables is 2 B's. Here you go. Broccoli and what? Brussels sprouts, okay? And 2 C's, cabbage and cauliflower. I chose cabbage, purple one, cauliflower. Okay, and then guess what? Here's another B, beets. Beets really help you to clean, detoxify that body. When I first saw this, it was in a pill form. It was cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, olive oil, and garlic. I thought, what a stir fry. And so that's why you see this pot sitting here, because you could just do that, okay? You could just throw these right here in the pot. There's your cauliflower. And here is your cabbage. It's going in the pot. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and turn this pot on. Now, we are working really, really fast. Now, I want you to know there is an oil that could cause cancer. That's called vegetable oil. Vegetable oil. Stay as far away from it as you possibly can. I'm gonna put in a little oil, and what kind is it? Grapeseed oil. You could use grapeseed oil, heat it up, not a problem, okay? You could also use some coconut oil, yes, not a problem. But there's one oil you cannot heat. It actually causes cancer. And what is that oil? That oil is olive oil. Cannot heat it, period. Once it heats, it becomes a cancer-causing agent. Okay, so we got cabbage and cauliflower in the pot. We're gonna go ahead and put in. We're gonna put in some little some Brussels sprouts. We're gonna put seeds in here. We're gonna put Brussels sprouts in. I hear the pot's going now, and this is food that you could make any day of the week and have it ready to eat at all times. Okay, wait a minute, we gotta get our broccoli in. And so, you know, we want you to just start looking after yourself. It's like you need an owner's manual, seem like, so that we didn't make you have to get the cancer in the first place. We wanna do that. So here we go. Now, the list, let's write this word down. The word is cruciferous vegetables. That's cruciferous, okay? These are cruciferous vegetables. They are anti-cancer. Now, guess what? There was some, many years ago, I was at a hair show, and the girl had lumps in her breast, fibrous tissue. And the doctor was gonna scan her on Friday after this Warner Brothers show. And I thought, hey, you need to take this bottle of pills home with you, start taking them today. That was like Monday evening, right? And guess what happened? On Friday, they did the x-rays, there was nothing there. And so that's why, you know, I thought, start cooking up this pot. And yes, you could take the supplement too. And then there are 2 more cruciferous vegetables that are qualifying as well. One of them being, asparagus. And you know what this does? It switches your pH. You know, they say cancer cannot live in a alkaline body. Well, you know what asparagus do? It switches your body from acid over to alkaline. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna take the bottom part off, okay? That is so fibrous, we cannot eat it. So we'll take it off. We're gonna throw the asparagus in the pot, and so we're gonna cut this pot down real low. Now, this is a raw red beet. We're not gonna put it in the pot now. We're gonna wait and put it in at the very end, because when you cook beets, it's a dead beet. And then you take away the powers of the beet. So I'm gonna go ahead and just stir it around, okay? And I'm gonna put a lid on it, okay? We're gonna put a lid on our pot, okay? Wow. And we're just gonna let it simmer just a little bit there for a few minutes while we talk about a few more things that could reverse and prevent cancer. This is one. Whoa, what is this? Miso, M-I-S-O, red miso. This smells like what we should have been seasoning our pots with. M-I-S-O, what does this little tag say that's right on top of this red mud? It's made from fermented soy, okay? The only way to eat soy products. But this says 50% reduced risk of breast cancer, meaning that it'll reduce your risk of getting breast cancer by 50%. Wow. This is what we're gonna add, but not now, because heat will destroy it. And you know, we have to learn what we can heat and what we can't. We know we cannot heat garlic. Garlic is one thing that's cancer preventive, but guess what? We can't heat it. That makes things taste good, but you're getting no use out of it if you heat it. So at the very end, we're gonna put our miso in, we're gonna put our garlic in, and we're gonna put our beets in. Oh my goodness. Okay, now, I wanna share a couple more little things that you've got to do as part of your regimen that could prevent cancer. Oh wow, what are these? These are almonds. So at night before you go to bed, put you some almonds in your glass, okay? Grab your water and put water and soak these almonds in the water during the night. That's what you're gonna do. And as they soak, they're gonna just get big, but they're also gonna release enzyme inhibitors. And almonds help in reversal of cancer. That's what they do. They alkalize your system. Remember, an alkaline system is a well system. So we're always looking for alkaline foods, things that will cause the body to stay alkaline. Okay. Now, I know that our time is getting a little nigh. And so I want to bring something out from under here. This is a blender bowl, people. But you know what I did? I drew some acid water from the water filter, not alkaline water, because the hair, scalp, skin is acidic, some beauty water. And I took some seaweed, okay, and I put the acid water, okay, with the seaweed and blended it up. Remember, they said that when you're after chemo, that hair, even with the cold cap, is very fragile, and you want to treat it that way, right? So then I put a little bit of rosemary in here, and wow, it is amazing. If you could see in this blender, this is absolutely the most wonderful thing here. It is just stunning, people. This little lotion, and you could actually clean your scalp with it. So gentle. It's fresh sea moss with acidic water, which is beauty water, which is cleansing, which is heating your hair. Oh my gosh. I can't stay away from this. So it's like, oh my goodness. That's more reasons. You've got to get your what did I call it? Sea milk. So if you guys are not sending out your sea milk this week, you just want to, oh my goodness. And so it's never going to get solid because you're putting it in with acidic water. You know, I have a water filtration machine that gives you the beauty water. That's what you want to make your seaweed with, and put your little rosemary oil in there. And it is so beautiful. I just blended it up. And it's just gonna make your skin just, oh my goodness. Okay, so let me wash my hands, get cleaned up. I got a little carried away. Like, how do you gently feed your hair with food? Now, here, let me tell you a big story. If you want cancer fast, you eat meat protein too late in the day. Do not do that. You've got to eat that meat way back here, like a minimum of 4 hours, but more like 8 hours before you go to bed, so it can digest and assimilate. Because undigested protein actually could cause cancer. And so that's why I brought the digestive enzyme. That's why we want to get the peppercorns. And let's see this pot, okay? I think the pot, it looks like these vegetables are almost there. And what are we gonna do at the very end? You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna crack peppercorns in the veggies, these cruciferous vegetables. Why? Why do you crack the pepper in at the end? Well, and why wouldn't you use ground black pepper? Brown black pepper could cause problems. You never want to cook and kill black pepper. You use it to digest your food. And so it helps break down all that protein that you would eat late in the evenings. You cannot eat it, people. You would have had to eat your protein by 2 p.m. every day. Don't eat it after 2 p.m. And when you do, crack your little pepper and say when, so you don't have all that acid reflux, indigestion, bloating. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, flaxseed. How many anti-cancer things? Put this in your diet, people. Northern Edge brand of flaxseed. Why? Cold milled. M-I-L-L-E-D. Never eat M-E-A-L. They sliced it with cold blades, so not to cause the oils to go rancid. There's 20 different anti-cancer agents here. Make it a part of your lifestyle, okay? And yes, we could use olive oil, but put it on your food once it's ready to eat, okay? And so we are using flaxseed in the mornings to make sure that it cleans any polyps from your colon. That's what we want. And we are, let me tell you what the Japanese do so they don't ever get cancer. You see this right here? This says sushi nori. You know what they do every day? They take one of these sheets and eat it every day. This is like the new bread. We've got to get used to this, because if you don't do this for your bread, you're eating regular bread, it turns to sugar. The number one cause of cancer, it starts cancer, feeds cancer, causes cancer to grow, is sugar. And breads turn to sugar. And so, hey, this is the new bread. You can put whatever you want here and roll it up and make you a fat sushi wrap. Whoa, that seems cool, isn't it? Yes, you'll have this nice big roll. You could do it. You could get a mat, but you didn't have to. This is what we are doing. So Japanese people eat one sheet a day to make sure that they are not having cancer. Okay. Now, here's the other little thing that I think is so necessary. Okay. And hey, look at this. Cancer, blood type eating. Eat for your blood type. We've been talking. And so if you're old and you eat wheat and you eat cornmeal products, it thickens your blood. And it actually, when the blood gets thick, the waste stays in, the cancer sets in, the elimination slows down. So we are eating for the blood type. Hey, I know some of you are looking at this. I want you to just pay attention to this. I want you to ask a question about it. As a matter of fact, let me go for this. We'll get rid of this. These are grapes. These are organic grapes, okay? This says the grape cure. Whoa, so if you eat fruit, eat grapes. The only other fruit that I would eat is pineapples. Pineapples dissolve tumors in cancer cells, and pears cause you to eliminate. If you're not eliminating one for one, guess what? Start eating pears on your way into work, on your way home. You're sending all the waste products out of the body, because the waste in the body is the house for the cancer to start to grow. So we don't want leaky guts. We want to put the food in, digest the food, take a digestive enzyme to make sure we digest the food. Otherwise, undigested protein will definitely feed cancer. And Germans, they use lots of grapes to reverse cancer. Wow. So let's talk about oxygen. Oxygen. Whoa, this is sage. These are greens. Okay. All right. This is arugula. Arugula, lung cancer. Sage is full of oxygen. Anything green, oxygen, oxygen. Cancer doesn't like oxygen. And so green stuff brings in all the oxygen. Get your little, herb pot, put you some sage in it. I've got plenty of it out in my front door in my herb pots. I keep sage. When I don't have lettuce, I just go outside and get basil. I get sage. I get dill weeds, and oh my goodness, it's just awesome. And I put that on my sandwich instead. Wow. Let's say something about this. We have to. Reverse blood pressure. 1 cup of apple cider vinegar, 1 cup of raw honey, 10 cloves of garlic, a little cayenne pepper. Wow, that's what this little tonic is right here. Now, what happens here? The research from around the world, the doctors, the universities, they concluded that this is a cure. They really did mean that this is a cure for many things, from cancer to arthritis. So you got to do something. And I've just been watching it lately. People have been piling in testimony after testimony with it. And it's been amazing, from bloating to all kinds of pain. It reduces your pain up to 90%. And it helps with weight loss, burning the fat, impotency, let's see here. What are some of the major ones? This girl had digestive issues, circulation issues. She said she had felt like 50 pounds of bricks was on her hand and on her feet every night. She'd have to exercise before she could get out of the bed. This took care of it. But wait a minute, it says blood pressure. It's putting the blood pressure way down, but it's causing circulation, getting the waste out of the body. So we don't have to start cancer. It's the waste, the toxins, the poison staying in the body that would create the cancer. Wow. And so this is awesome. You make it up, you put it in your fridge, and that's one little way of keeping the waste out of your body and going out of the body, and circulation in all of your areas of your body.
Dr. Scott, how much of that do you take a day?
That's a very, very good question.
Teaspoon to a tablespoon.
And so I say here 1 teaspoon to 1 tablespoon, but the directions say 2 teaspoons. Okay, 2 teaspoons. You can put it in a juice, like Concord grape juice. You could take it straight. Yes, yes, yes. And I would challenge anyone to make it this week and come back next week to share a testimony, because this girl was, yeah.
I took
have
it.
one from a client.
I was gonna say, and I took it myself with my issue that I had, and it totally worked for me. As far
wow.
as far as helping bring the swelling down, helping bring the pain down.
Wow.
And I did take a tablespoon a day.
Wow.
And y'all know me, it's not I don't take anything for the taste. I just take it because it's gonna help me.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Wonderful.
it has helped.
Yeah.
And look, it does have an interesting aroma. And so people say, the girl that was crying for 3 days, she said, you know what? I put it on my salad. It's a great salad dressing too. And so, let's just start doing some of these things. Get you some sheet paper. And so right now we could do what? If you want to eat these veggies every day, this is what we're going to do. Okay. We are going to, we need a grater. Here's our grater right here. We need some ginger. Whoa. We are going to, you see the ginger here? So we're just gonna grate some ginger. Ginger helps you digest. So, it's not what you eat, it's what you can digest. Because undigested food is what starts the cancer growing. And so we don't need that. So we cut the pot off, we put in ginger. We are going to go ahead and we are going to grate some beets. Beets are big on reversing cancer, along with the core out of the pineapple. And so these are going to be mainstays in the kitchen. And so we've got our cruciferous vegetables here. And we want this one especially 50% reduce breast cancer. Yes. And so we want some of this mud. we don't want the smoke from the smoked turkey next to flavor our food. We want miso, and it makes the food taste like grandma's pot. And we just put about a tablespoon. Where do you find it? In the health food stores. It's fermented soy. The only way to eat soy, we're not eating tofu or drinking soy milk so much, but we are doing fermented soy. And so there we go. I'm gonna put the favorite that ties it all together, some cumin, and it makes it taste really good. Let's get a bowl of it. And this is something you want to do every single day if you could. It's just have you cruciferous vegetables. Have them so to help you keep free of cancer. Look at that pretty bowl.
I thought you was gonna say cayenne. I thought you was gonna say cayenne when you said the cumin.
I thought so too. She changed it up on us.
Yeah, she changed it up on us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hey.
That looks good. I'm gonna try that.
Oh, with that dressing on it. Yes,
But
ma'am.
yeah. So can you imagine having your blood pressure be 109/67 with this little silly thing here? And
it works. My client is doing it, and she's taking her blood pressure, and it's been normal.
wow.
Oh, great.
That is amazing.
Perfect.
So
thank you so much.
let's just bring in some of these things. So for any of you, this here little thing in the blender, oh my goodness. This is awesome. Just put, and so it's liquid. So this is so wonderful for your hair. Wow. Awesome. So I want to say thank you for letting me share some with you. Wow. Awesome.
Thank you so much, Dr. Scott.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
everybody. Thanks everybody for joining us again. We hope that you have some great takeaway from the show. We learned about cold caps, and of course, Dr. Scott, she always bring it. So please share this with anyone that you think could utilize this information. And of course, go to the replay whenever you like.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. See you next week.
Same time, same place.
Tune in next week, same time, same place.
Yay.
Yeah, yay.
Yay.
Wow. So